welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Ian Chamandy. He is a co-founder and chief purpose officer at PurposeU. He's also the co-founder of Blueprint Business Architecture. He's also an author and speaker and coach. Welcome to the show, Ian.
Thank you very much, Ajay.
You are welcome to the show, Ian. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to discuss right now. We'll be talking about the power of purpose for one's business and life. So my first question is to you, Ian, is why focus so much on purpose? That your company itself is, the name of your company is Purpose. You help us understand your purpose of Purpose You, and as well as your passion for purpose for people.
Sure. Well, I'll start out with my favorite quote on purpose, which is by Pablo Picasso, the famous artist, and he said, "The meaning of life is to find your gift, and your purpose is to give it away." So if you just rephrase that, it means your purpose is to find your gift and give it away, right? And so when you think about that, what is your gift? And there is only one thing that you truly own. And that is whatever it is at your essence that makes you uniquely remarkable. And everybody has something that makes them uniquely remarkable. That's why we're all different. And when you learn what it is that makes you uniquely remarkable, especially if you can capture it in a short phrase, and our standard is in 7 words or less. So, you're a very complex human being, and we boil that down to 7 words or less. What is it at your essence that makes you uniquely remarkable? So when you know that, you have that inspiring little phrase, it gives you an incredible amount of confidence. And because you know now that you have a superpower, you probably always suspected it, right? But now you know what it is. And when you can articulate it, you can call it up whenever you need it. You can use it by design rather than by happenstance before you actually knew what it was. So when you're in challenging situations, I'll give you an example. My purpose statement in 7 words or less is transforming confusion into clarity. And I love that I have that ability, that people are all, they've got this big problem and there's so many issues swimming in their head. And I can just talk with them and slowly untangle the problem until the answer becomes self-evident. And they go, "Oh, isn't that great?" And all of a sudden, their anxiety is gone because they have clarity now about what they need to do. And I help them do that because that's my superpower. So that's what I do in my business life, and that's what I do in my my personal life. So it gives you that confidence. That's the first thing. But the second thing is it gives you a really powerful decision-making tool. So if I know that my purpose is transforming confusion into clarity, and let's say a political candidate wants me to work for her, and she says, "I want you to go door to door and hand out pamphlets." Well, I look at my purpose statement, transforming confusion into clarity, and I say, that doesn't really fit, right? That's not me. Give me a role where I'm transforming confusion into clarity. And then she would say, "Well, we're having this meeting where we're trying to solve this problem, and we've been trying and haven't been able to." And it's like, "Oh, that's me. That's where I can help you, transforming confusion into clarity." So it becomes this powerful decision-making tool. And it's and whether you are an organization like a business or a charity, or you're an individual person, it's true. The same is true. When an organization knows its purpose and can articulate it in 7 words or less, it gives the organization um, more confidence because now it understands what its essential core superpower is. And it can use it to guide every decision it makes and every action the organization takes. For an individual, same thing. Once you know what it is, it guides every decision you make and every action you take. The third thing it does, I'll just wrap this up, same for individual and corporation, is it allows you to communicate with others about your purpose or how your purpose relates. So they know how to engage you, whether it's in a personal situation or whether it's a company. So you now know how to communicate about yourself in communication that is rooted in what makes you uniquely remarkable, your purpose.
Right, right, Ian. You have explained it very well. Now, for organizations, uh, are purpose or vision the same or are they different? Also, whose job is to find out the purpose in an organization? Many a
Okay,
times, founders found a company and they sell it off. So, help us understand about the purpose for organizations and also for individuals. Also, how do they should they look at purpose for themselves?
right. So I'll give you the easy answer first. Whose responsibility is this in the organization? It's the CEO. It's the CEO's job to lead the project to figure out what it is and then to figure out how it's going to be used. And then the CEO communicates that down through the organization so that everybody buys in and they socialize it up to the board so that the board is aligned and has clarity about who the organization is and where it's going as expressed by its purpose. So that's what that is. Now you ask the question, isn't that what mission does? And it's like, okay, that, by the way, that's I'm laughing, but it's a great question. Because here's the thing, for the past 30 or 40 years, a lot of organizations have spent a lot of time and energy doing mission, vision, and values, right? And then that's an exercise that goes and sits up on the shelf that has no material impact on the organization at all. It's forgotten the moment it's done. So that's part of the problem. The other part is find me someone who can tell me the difference between mission and vision. They're used interchangeably. So when we went into this business, we were sort of in the business of mission, vision, and values, but we hated that because it was done so badly by organizations. So we said, well, we can do one of two things. We can either retrain people in what mission, vision, and values actually is, or we can just do something different, but that achieves the same goal. And that's what we decided to do because we knew that, when this huge school of fish is swimming downstream, there's no point in standing in the middle of the stream and holding your hands out and saying, stop, turn around. It's better upstream. So what we did is we said, we came from this fundamental belief, and it's just really, really simple. And that is that the single most important asset any organization has is knowing what makes it uniquely remarkable. Because when you know what makes you uniquely remarkable, and again, expressed in 7 words or less, you can use that to design how you operate, how you manage the company, how you run the company. And then you can use that to design how you're going to communicate about the company, the branding, the marketing, the sales, and all that stuff. It becomes, right, that expression of what makes you uniquely remarkable guides everything that the organization does and says. So that's how you make yourself a consistently and sustainably uniquely remarkable organization, is know what it is that makes you uniquely remarkable, and inoculate that into your business everywhere. So here's the thing: mission and vision and values is supposed to define your North Star, right? Guide you into the future. It doesn't do that. This does. Because, can I give you a quick
Yes.
case study?
Yes, please.
So this actuarial firm came to us and they said, we're in an area of business that is going to disappear in 5 years. And we specialize in this. So we have there's a threat to our existence here. We need to know where we're going to get business from in the future in order to survive and thrive. And we said to them, figure out what it is that makes you uniquely remarkable, your purpose, and it will tell you. And I can't believe that these risk-averse actuaries actually said yes, but they said yes. So the way we do our process, it's 10 sessions on Zoom, 2 hours each, with the CEO and up to 3 other key decision makers in the organization. So we're having this conversation and we get them to talk and talk and talk. And when they were done, I summarized. I said, okay, here's what it sounds like you're telling me. That the CEO and the CFO have to make critical decisions now about what big chunks of money are going to do in the future. They said, right. And I said, and you devise mathematical models that help them figure out the best thing to do with this big chunk of money, so that it's more in the future. Right. And you've given us these 3 reasons why your mathematical models are better than your competitors. And they said, right. And I said, well, it sounds like you're in the business of predicting the future. And the tops of their heads blew off. No, nobody can predict the future. I said, no, calm down. And so the expression that we landed on is, no, you're not predicting the future. But what you're doing is you're creating a greater degree of certainty about the future. You imagine the CEO and the CFO, and they're sitting there and they've got great anxiety about the decisions they're making, because they could make or lose tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you as an actuary are not providing them with a greater degree of certainty, with greater confidence about their decision, then you have no value. And so that became their purpose statement. What makes them uniquely remarkable is creating a greater degree of certainty. Now, here's the point. If you define yourself as an actuary or as being in the business of defined benefit pensions, which is what's disappearing, your world is narrow and getting narrower by the day. But when you say that you're about a greater degree of certainty, all of a sudden, those blinders widen. And opportunities for business that were sitting outside of your actuary blinders, but that are good opportunities for business, you couldn't see them. Now with the wider blinders, you can see them. There's lots of, so what they did is they said, okay, you know what, we're going to spend the first year, we're going to get 3 clients, and we're going to go out and we're going to learn this greater degree of certainty business where we're not doing defined benefit pensions. And we're going to find 3 clients and we're going to say, we'll do our work for free because we want to learn with you. And a funny thing happened when they went out and pitched their greater degree of certainty story, is the first client said, wow, that sounds really cool. I haven't heard that story before. Can you come back to me with a proposal? So they did, with a fee. They charged that client. And they did that with the other 2 as well. So they ended up in the first year learning how to be a greater degree of certainty, this expanded, capability with the same skill set on the client's dime.
Right, Ian. So in terms of, you said that find out what you have got unique, what you have got remarkable, and then give it away. Is it
Yeah.
possible for organizations to give it away?
Oh,
And give it
absolutely.
away, what do you mean by give it away? Because a lot of organizations, their purpose seems to be about maximizing their profit or so-called shareholder value, which is, say 80% is owned by the promoters themselves, and a bit.
Yeah.
So I want to understand, how should organizations look at this part of purpose?
Yeah, saying that that maximizing profitability is your purpose as a corporation is like saying your purpose as a human is to breathe. Your purpose as a human is not to breathe. If you don't breathe, you don't live. If you don't get profit as a corporation, you don't live. But that's not your purpose. Your purpose is what you do in order to maximize profit. So that's that one issue. Um, the second one is, how do you give it away? Okay, so the definition of the word of the expression "give it away" is quite broad, right? So if you know what makes you uniquely remarkable, and again with me, transforming confusion into clarity, by providing that service and getting paid for it, but having a client that feels transformed at the end of that process because they have a much bigger vision of their business now, that's giving it away, right? Even though I'm getting paid. Now, conversely, as a corporation, if I say my purpose is creating a greater degree of certainty, then one of the things that you can do is you can look out to, let's say, the charity sector or the community service sector or whatever, and you can do pro bono work to give back. But what you want to do is you want to find pro bono work that leverages your superpower, which is creating a greater degree of certainty, or in my case, transforming confusion into clarity. Right? So I would want to, let's say, I would want to go on a board of a charity, for instance, because that's where I'm going to best leverage, or in an advisory board of a charity. That's where I'm going to best leverage transforming confusion into clarity. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes, 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 Ian. So now let's understand one more thing. In life or in business, when is it that we need the purpose part the most? When do we remember about this purpose, when we don't actually, we never have thought about it, or we have thought about it, but we have not lived the way it should be? So, when do you most remember this thing called purpose in life or in business?
Well, so usually people go searching for purpose, excuse me, when they have a trigger event, what we call a trigger event, right? So career change, whether by choice or forced upon you, is a trigger event. Retirement, graduation, divorce, empty nest, midlife crisis, health issue. These are all trigger events. And what trigger events do is they create uncertainty about the future. If you've just been laid off, you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from. You now have uncertainty about the future, and that uncertainty causes, at minimum, anxiety, and at most, fear and panic, right? So trigger events are what cause people to search for purpose, and trigger events are probably the most valuable time to use your purpose. Because remember, I said it was a decision-making tool. Should I take this action or shouldn't I? Should I make this decision or shouldn't I? Is it aligned with my purpose or not? Well, okay, let's say I get fired or laid off. So it's against my will, right? And now, even if I've got a package, I'm still like anxiety. But I know also that I'm about transforming confusion into clarity. So I have a direction, right? I can go out to a headhunter and I can say, this is my superpower, and explain transforming confusion into clarity and detail. So they go, oh, I know exactly who you are. And I know a client that needs exactly what you've got. So remember I said the third thing is being able to communicate to the world, right? About your purpose. If I can communicate to the outside world what my superpower is as an employee, then I'm going to get my next job faster, right? So I can communicate myself and I can make decisions that are aligned with transforming confusion into clarity. The other thing I can do is I can even say, I'm about transforming confusion into clarity, but how do I do it for me? I need to find a friend to help me. So even though it's not me leveraging my purpose, I've actually leveraged my purpose to figure out how to use my purpose to find my next career. Right. And I've helped a number of clients who were either in retirement and floundering or approaching retirement and didn't know, what they were going to do in Act 3 of their life. And so we determined their purpose to help them figure out what that was.
Right, Ian. Now talking about your book, tell us about this book of yours, so that who is this book for?
Okay, so the title is the book is Why Should I Choose You? And the subtitle is Answering the Single Most Important Question in Business in 7 words or less. Right? Now, if you and your listeners are familiar with Simon Sinek and his books Start with Why, your why and your purpose and what makes you uniquely remarkable, these are all the same things, right? We're all talking about the same thing. When I pitched my book to Sinek's publisher, he said, well, what's the difference between your book and Sinek's book? And I said, well, he's communicating a notion that I think is really valuable and that I obviously totally believe in, because that's what your 7 words or less is, your why. And I said, but there's no methodology in his book. So he leaves you going, well, what do I do? How do I figure this out? When we wrote our book, we wrote the first draft not wanting to give away our methodology, because that's our crown jewels, right? And we went to our advisory board and said, the book stinks. It really stinks. But we're afraid, to give away our secrets. And they said, don't worry about that. Give away your secrets. So that's what we did. It's a book about the blueprint methodology for finding your 7 words or less, your purpose statement as a company or as a charity, and then designing how it's going to guide your operations, how you manage and run the company, and how it's going to guide your communications, how you're going to brand the company and market and sell it and all that sort of thing. So it really does open the kimono and lay bare what our methodology is. So, sure, you can try it yourself, just like you can try therapy on yourself, but it doesn't really work that well when you're doing therapy on yourself. You need the therapist as the third, sort of the objective third party. But anyway, that's what the book does. It lays out. And the thing is, the reason that the book is called Why Should I Choose You? Is because the answer is always the one thing that makes you uniquely remarkable. So for instance, when I'm pitching against, for a company, against like McKinsey or Deloitte or whatever, if the company says to them, why should I choose you? They're going to have a big, long answer for it. And it's going to be like a million different features and benefits and that sort of thing. And I'm going to say, because my secret sauce, my superpower is being able to transform confusion into clarity. And you're confused about who you are as a company and where you're going. And my methodology shrinks that down to 7 words or less. So why should you choose me? Because my power is transforming confusion into clarity. And if you agree that that's what you need, then I'm the obvious choice, because that's not what the other companies pitching or promising you. You're not sure what they're promising you because they're so unclear about what makes it uniquely remarkable. Did that answer your question? I've forgotten the question.
No, no, no. It's answered. We were talking
Oh,
about your book.
the book, right. And maybe I can just segue into what the individual is about, because what happened was, when COVID started, I got my coaching certification and I became an executive coach. And I was a generic executive coach, and I don't like being generic anything. So I said to myself, I wonder how the market is going to force me to specialize. And all the people who came to me, again, this is early in COVID, they said, this pandemic has caused me to reevaluate my life. I don't like it. I want to live a life of meaning and purpose. And I said, great, what's your purpose? And they said, I don't know. And it made me realize that I could take this sort of corporate behemoth over here, strip out all the stuff that didn't pertain to an individual, add some stuff back in that does pertain to an individual, and I could offer this as an individual blueprint, like an executive blueprint, to define your personal 7 words or less and figure out how it's going to guide your life and your career. And then a client of mine, a CEO who every time he moved to a new job, he would hire me to do a blueprint. He came to me and he said, I have an online infrastructure all created that I can plunk on top of your personal blueprint. And we can offer this as an online course so that you can sign up and you can work your way through a step-by-step process to define your personal 7 words or less, to define what makes you uniquely remarkable in 7 words or less, right? And then once you got that, you know what your superpower is, and you've got the 3 benefits, right? You've got the confidence, you've got the decision-making tool that guides every decision you make and every action you take, and you've got the ability now to talk about yourself. But what you also get to do after you define what makes you uniquely remarkable in 7 words or less is then to build out your story. And then the last thing is to be able to design a life of meaning and purpose in 10 different areas of your life. And we walk you step by step through that, but you do it at your own pace in an online course with videos where I'm, yapping away, telling you what to do and making it easy.
Right, right. There is much to learn from you about these things, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to learn all these things from you, and about the work you do, and also about your book. So, what is the best way for them to connect with you, Ian?
The best way is to go to my website, and it's PurposeU. So it's purpose with the letter U at the end, .co. PurposeU.co, and you can learn about a personal blueprint there. And if you are a corporation or a charity, my website is 7words.biz. So that's the number 7 words.biz. And I say Z because I'm Canadian.
Right, right. Even I say Z in this part of the world. A lot of people use Z, and so
Yeah, our American friends say Z.
right. But I didn't know that in Canada they use Z.
You know what? Canada is one of those countries, like New Zealand, for instance, right? A lot of people look at New Zealand and say, "Oh, that's just like Australia." And if you're in New Zealand or Australia, oh no, we are totally different. And that's true. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities between Canadians and Americans, but there are so many ways where we are just night and day difference. Politically being one, we're a much more liberal, progressive country than America is. And we say Z and they say Z.
Absolutely, absolutely. It looks like New Zealand and also Australia need your services to find
Yeah,
to define themselves better.
exactly.
To avoid Right, to avoid all that confidence. Be that as it may, it's nice talking to you. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Ajay, I'm so grateful. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.